Our story today is Jesus Comes When You Least Expect, based on John chapter 4, 1-45. The Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect, Jesus said of his second coming in Luke 12:40. But Jesus showing up at unexpected times and places is a familiar pattern in his dealings with us in almost all areas of life. His reasons for this are mysterious and glorious, as the woman at the well in John 4 experienced. But let's imagine this Samaritan woman many years later as 14, living in Rome and listening to a young friend, Claudia, expressing her discouragement in waiting on Jesus. 14 sensed Claudia's invisible burden. "What's on your mind, dear?" "Nothing." 14 looked around for the basket of pears and said, "Claudia, you know I won't accept that response." Spying the pears behind Claudia, she said, "And would you pass the pears, please?" Claudia passed the basket. "Okay. But I guess I'm telling the truth. Nothing is what I'm thinking about, as in nothing ever changes." 14 laughed. "When you get to be my age, dear, you'll know that change is all that ever happens." "Except the things you really want to change," muttered Claudia, dropping a handful of pistachios into a cloth bag. Claudia was new to Rome, having recently moved from Carthage, where she had become a Christian about 6 years earlier. The gracious aged 14 had taken her under her wings, and this morning they were preparing food for some of the sisters who had been jailed the previous week for sharing Jesus with a senator's daughter. Claudia didn't know all of 14's past. "I'm listening," 14 said, handing Claudia another bag. "Jesus said if we ask the Father anything in his name, he will give it to us," said Claudia, John 16:23. "And I've seen some answers to prayer, but I have so many things I desperately want him to change. I ask, and nothing seems to change. Some things have even gotten worse, not better." She filled the bag. "I don't understand it." The old woman put 3 pears in the last bag and handed it to Claudia. "You will, honey, once you learn that Jesus is coming." Claudia wasn't inspired. "I know Jesus is coming back someday, but I'd like him to answer some of my prayers before then." And in went the last fist of pistachios. "I don't simply mean Jesus' return, dear," replied 14. "I mean that Jesus is coming in answer to every righteous request that you make in his name." "What do you mean he's coming?" "He promised that your prayers would be answered, didn't he? Here, put these small meal bags into the large sack. I'll put away the food." 14 groaned as she got up and stiffly carried the pear basket to the table. "You just need to learn to trust his timing." "But if he's coming, why is he taking so long?" "Sweetheart, he's God. Some prayers he answers in a day, some in a decade, and some in 1,000 years. Just set the sack by the door." She came back for a bowl of pistachios. "Some prayers he answers after 5 marriages." Claudia set the sack down and looked back at 14, shocked. "What? 5 marriages?" "5, answered the godly old woman, and she shook her head. "And after the 5th, I stopped with the formalities." Claudia looked stunned. "Yes, I was a whore of Sychar. Claudia, a slave to my sin. I prayed many times that God would deliver me and saw nothing change. I heard that Messiah was going to come someday, but I stopped hoping that he'd ever come for me. And then, one day, when I least expected him, there he was, waiting for me beside a well." 14 poured the nuts into the storage sack. "Many times since he has come in answer to my prayers, but rarely when or how I expected him. Experience has taught me that his strange ways are always the best, though. So don't stop praying, dear, but don't place your hope on time. Let Jesus mind the time, and you mind your faithfulness. He's never yet broken a promise. He will answer you." God is not deaf to your prayers, the ones that come from the core of your being, Romans 8:26. He knows your deep longings, your desires for his kingdom to come, your yearnings to be set free from creation's bondage to corruption and to obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. He is coming to fulfill every righteous desire beyond our wildest imaginations. But the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Luke 12:40. His timing is often mysterious to us, but he knows what he's doing. By employing the element of surprise in glorious purposes, he humbles human pride and catches Satan off guard. 12:39. And wonderfully heightens our joy when the answers come. So keep praying and cultivate patience, long-suffering faith. There will be a day when you find him unexpectedly at the well of your deepest thirst. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.